Hello. Hope everybody can hear me. Just getting started here. I was going to use my laptop, but going with the phone just to stay on time. So I am Dr. Marina Mangano, coming live all the way from the East Coast. I live here in South Jersey and had the great opportunity to meet Megan while I was living and practicing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'm just going to open up here just to make sure everybody can see. And if you have any questions as we're chatting, please feel free to go ahead and type them in. And thanks, Megan, for that clarification. Good. So I was asked to talk a little bit today about just kind of complementing the program that you are all working on, and just those day-to-day little opportunities to reinforce the decisions and the new behaviors you're working towards. And the concept of affirmations, there's such a broad definition of the term affirmation. Who uses it, who teaches it to you, it's always going to be a little different. So how I think, and I like to use them in practice, is a little bit more applicable, a little bit more realistic. So if you're completely new to affirmations, we'll start from the beginning of what it is, why you would use it, maybe a way to make it a little bit more effective or more authentic is really the medicine here. So usually you'll hear someone saying an affirmation like, I am abundant, or I am clear, I am present. So all of these I am statements are almost like this self-oath. It's like you're making this verbal clarification to yourself and kind of putting it out there to hopefully embody what the definition of this I am statement means. And so in my recent book, Gift of Healing Hands, I've just worked with so many patients on this concept in the office that I tried to make a little bit of an easier routine for them. But I really wanted to dissect where the power of an affirmation comes from. So if you've used an affirmation before, you kind of wrote a sticky note up on your mirror of, I am strong, I am healing, I am capable. It's really, they're very intimate, they're very personal, they don't work for everybody, the same word. So let's go backtrack a little bit and understand why the I, the M, and then whatever the third word is, why that affects you and why that's maybe going to help you in this journey of healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, healthy weight, and activity. So I believe the hard part for people to understand when they're making these is they don't really understand their power in this clarification, imprinting this statement on their body. And so I want to reinforce, the idea that you have this amazing capability within your mind, within the mind's connection to your body, and the mind's connection to radiate this belief to everything around you. So coming back to just you physically, your body. Oh, we're back. You're trying to help every system in your body get on board with what this statement means. So for instance, if someone's dealing with anxiety and they're trying to use the affirmation, I am calm, it's not just a word, it's not just saying it and hoping it works out. It's also thinking about, when you say I am calm, the brain remembers the sensation of calm. It remembers how you felt, maybe the environment, the temperament, the temperature, all of these things that create the sensation, the memory of the word calm. When you use an affirmation later, it's helping your body kind of organize itself to go back to that memory, to get back to that sensation. So saying an affirmation is wonderful, but really being mindful about what the word means and how you want to feel in conjunction with that word, I think is a really powerful part. At its truth, the I statement, I think we also often confuse I with our titles. So, I am, well, I won't use that one because that's a conversation for later, but, I am strong. Let's put I am strong there. When you say that, there's this, you kind of put ourselves in a little bit of a box of what society, what your experiences, your family, your history has developed the definition of strong. So with any type of weight loss, goal, program, community that you're involved in, and not just weight loss, but just feeling good about yourself, feeling healthy in your movement, your activities, your energy. All those things can be influenced by positive or negative motivators. So I think positive motivators in any activity is what makes it permanent and what makes it your body invite it in. It's not so hard to push against it because it's asking for this inviting stimulus. So example, I work with a lot of people who are trying to lose weight, and I try to help them understand if it's actually detrimental exercise or beneficial exercise based on the mindset behind it. So if you're already in a high stress, high anxiety, stage of life, and your heart rate's always really up, you going to a HIIT class that night, is that adding to that momentum, or is that giving you the opportunity to witness and be still and be silent? So the motivator there, if you know, I love high intensity exercise because it makes me feel amazing. It makes me feel like I'm so strong. It makes me feel like part of a community. It reminds me of maybe growing up and working out with my dad or somebody that you really love. Those are positive motivators. Negative motivators, regardless of how beneficial that science says that this exercise is or this diet is, the negative motivators really kind of sour any stimulus or anything you add to the body. So you could have a negative effect when you eat a salad because you dislike the salad. It reminds you of like shameful eating or something you're avoiding while you're eating it, or someone once told you you need to eat a salad. So the brain is so interesting, and we could talk about this really in depth. I'm trying to stay pretty on the surface here. But the theme I'm just trying to get to is asking yourself to maybe sit down and write down a list of some of the new habits you've been trying to add on and thinking about the motivators for them. So while yes, if you want to lose weight, that is almost a secondary repercussion of blank, of joining a new community, of making a new friend, or falling in love with a new hobby, or finding a new park that really, invigorates you. So all of those activities, I think you should make a list of recognizing maybe where you're at now in them, identifying if you have some positive or negative motivators. And if I'm still not landing on that for you, I'll try to give you one more example. Some of the women I've worked with in the past really want to lose weight for someone else. And that's really hard because we live and we adapt and we heal really from ourselves, from ourselves in and then working outward. So I think it's really helpful to identify if you have an unrealistic mindset in your weight loss journey of, I want to lose weight because I think this will improve my relationship with my husband. We can go two ways with that. If you feel like there's something lacking and this is that key, ask yourself if that's realistic. Ask yourself who implanted that perception in your mind. Or a positive way to look at that is, I think I want to lose weight because I think it's going to improve my husband's, my relationship with my husband, because we were really hoping to go on this hiking trip, or we're going to have such a great way to connect by doing this joint activity. So that just turned that, realistic, aspect of wanting to lose weight into a positive motivator. So I hope that's a good example of some things that you can do to go through and talk about where the motivation stems from for your healing journey, for your diet journey, your healthy sleep journey, healthy sex journey, all of these things. The why, yes, the why is so important, Megan. I love that. And so going back to our affirmations, why I talked about kind of titles and those positive motivators is because you really have to understand when you say, I am rich, do you actually believe it? The authenticism aspect is what makes this have that chemical, hormonal, spiritual effect on your body that then radiates out and attracts more of that. So if you're saying something that doesn't really feel like a word that fits you, or doesn't, by saying I am rich, you're almost implying that there's this sense of lack, like there's this, that you're not there yet, and maybe you don't deserve to be there yet. So you actually almost attract some more of that lacking and some more of that perpetual working towards being rich, for example. So using authentic words, using words that really do mean something to you. And when you say like the word, daughter, or something that just like whole body has this effect, those are those powerful key words that you are going to use in your I am statement. And it's something I describe in my book, and I'm trying not to get too ingrained here, too in depth. But if you understand the true meaning and the true identity behind the word I, you really don't need anything else, because you've done the work, you've worked with other women in this wonderful community that you're a part of to understand, these completely authentic, unshakable core values that are within yourself. So when you say the word I, you are recalling all of these beautiful things at once. And they're truths. They're not someone's influence. They're not a word or an idea, belief that other things around you have reinforced. It's truth. You've felt it, you feel it, you understand how it influences you. So really doing some self-inquiry, maybe another journaling exercise of what you believe are at your core, the things that make you an I. That is not, I'm a mom, I am a daughter, it's not titles. It's what you bring to those relationships. I am compassionate. Those things, those are the meat of those titles. Because when we use titles, they often kind of put us in a box, like I am a wife. What I think a wife is versus what my husband thinks a wife is versus everybody around you is so different. So I want you to reel back to those very finite building blocks and develop your I. Because then the next part, the M, is taking ownership of those things. So embodying them fully and taking ownership of, if I do believe I am compassionate, like I used, the M is the actions and the properties that helps me to share that compassion or connect to others with that compassion. So the M is that ownership. So if you were working with your journal exercise here, and you're working on building a really good affirmation that works for you. And it's always going to change depending on our goals, depending on where you're at. The one that we're maybe building together right now, it could really benefit you and work for you right now, and that's great. So we're trying to build a really true, honest source of an I am message. So in the journal exercise, the M's here would maybe be some very distinct temperaments, very distinct behaviors that you exhibit or you are constantly called to. They're kind of those like soul gifts, those kind of things. So you have your true identity, you have this ownership and these identity actions, these identity connectors. If you really live in that world and you have done the work to find that I and that M definition, the third word doesn't even really matter, because you so truthfully understand yourself, your gifts, the direction you're moving, then all those other words, they almost limit you. They almost keep you in a certain mindset, a certain realm, whereas the first two just open so many doors and they validate and they complete you. So my recommendation is when understanding when to use an affirmation and is really doing this work of what it is, why it is first. So then every time you finally get in the mood to say something new, a new affirmation, something in the morning maybe, I am prepared, like if you have a big day coming up. The prepared, if you didn't do the back work, would seem like the most important part. And you'd be trying to remember and remind yourself what it feels like to be prepared and to be successful. But when you do this kind of developing work and dissecting work for the I am equation, the I and the M are so powerful that prepared is just the cherry on top, because you are those things that you led up to and worked up to, and the prepared is just how you're going to come off to the people around you. So I hope that kind of gets you inspired, gets you excited to do that self-inquiry, some of those journaling exercises, to learn a little bit more about yourself, maybe how your body wants to communicate, and that will help you pick really nice words for yourself, really loving and positive words for your affirmation. And then the only other thing I would say about all of this is like maybe when to use it or why you would use it in conjunction with other things you're doing. Change is hard. Change is hard, and there are going to be seasons in life where you are more apt to change. There are going to be seasons during the month where you are more apt to making changes, and other times throughout the month, it is everything in your body is asking you to pause, to stop, to backtrack. So it's really important to know your cycles, understand the times where it's not you that's failing. It's not you that's lazy. It's not you that all these things. It's your body's natural rhythm of, to progress, I must process. To progress, I must apply. To progress, I must take time to instill this in our systems. We can't just always be straight moving, in a linear direction up and forward. So understanding the rhythm, especially as women, we have such natural cycles, whether you're, menstruating or not. We have hormonal cycles. We have, I think, mental and emotional cycles that come with that, spiritual parts of our month. So giving yourself a little grace, and maybe during this cycle that you're learning more about, design affirmations to match that time. If maybe I know every, mid-cycle for me, I'm going to really need a little extra inspiration. So my affirmation that I'm going to use around that time of my cycle is going to be very loving, very supportive, but it's going to give me space to rest, space to not be the best version of myself in this new goal. Whereas other parts of the month, maybe that affirmation is going to match that theme of, you go girl, I am invincible. I am encouraging, I am inspiring. So working with an affirmation to mother yourself a little bit, nurture yourself a little bit along this journey, I think that makes them much more powerful, effective, and it helps you to believe that you have the magic, that you have the power, that you have the influence to really make some changes in your life. So that's kind of my spiel on affirmations, positive motivators. If you have any questions, just the few people that are watching, I'd love to hear a little bit. And I can be found on a bunch of social media outlets at Cairo Yoga Flow. I'd love to offer any other resources that I can. Megan, during the day, the affirmations. Okay, so the question is, how often throughout the day do I use affirmations, and do you focus on one affirmation at a time? I think intuition is really powerful here. And what I mean by that is we can overthink the best plans right out the window. So when you are, picking through your brain, looking for words that you want to use throughout the day, whatever pops into your head, if it's a positive motivator, go with it. If it's a should word, or it's something like that, a word that maybe doesn't really feel like it sits with you, like maybe that's not really a seed word from your mind, then maybe overthink it a little bit and try to find a softer word. Traditionally, if you are struggling with a problem or a pain and you're really focusing on a negative, firstly, try to identify what that is, and then pick an affirmation that is at least the opposite of that. So when I'm just really feeling cold or kind of experience some depression, my affirmations are going to be something that reminds me of fire, of heat, of warmth, of fulfillment. And so that would be kind of what I would focus on instead of sticking to one just main affirmation. Intuitively allow it to adapt to where you're at right now. How often am I using these things? I think we use an affirmation much more than you realize. So maybe you're not saying, I am confident. You're not saying them in three separate words. I think we do reinforcing behaviors, reinforcing self-soothers throughout the day. Every time you sit down to have a cup of coffee, you're giving yourself an affirmation through an activity of, I am important enough to take this moment to myself. I am self-loving. I am self-soothing. So your behaviors are affirmations. Your communication is affirmations. The dialect and the tone that you use, you are affirming, reaffirming to others that I am approachable. Can't you hear it in my tone? Or I am caring. Can't you see it in my eyes? So recognize that you probably use affirmations a lot throughout the day, but when you are really not as familiar with them and you're looking for opportunities to, dice them into your world a little bit more, there's fun ways to do it. It's called habit stacking. So if you are trying to make a new change, it's easiest to make that change by stacking it to already a pre-existing habit that you have. So one way that I really like to start the day is my alarms on my phone have some title. It's actually cute. I still see the morning I got married, I have get married today alarm, and I've never erased that alarm. And sometimes I just accidentally use it to wake up in the morning. So you can give yourself an affirmation on your morning alarm on your phone, or if you have alarms set throughout the day, I like that title to be a nice affirmation. There are a lot of affirmations that are in conjunction with music now. So things on Spotify, you can look up healing frequencies. It's called Solfeggio frequencies, Solfeggio. A lot of these different levels of hertz and frequencies in the music is targeted to affect different parts of your body. So those I am statements that an I am statement that would affect your head, maybe a different frequency than an I am statement that would affect your heart, and so forth. So you can find music that in the silence is working on those things. Yeah, the alarm idea is really fun. Certain things like Post-it notes. If you artwork in your room, you can always have, I love finding local artists that do really good script work. I have some one up here. It's just kind of is my Instagram symbol, or when people leave my office, they get to see some print work over there. So those are great places to add some little authentic spaces to your work zone, your home space, and someone can print you an I am, or that's a fun craft to do. Really cool. Okay, so I think in total it's recognizing the ability to use this as just an extra gift, an extra spice to the natural things that you already are doing and all the hard work you're already putting into your program. Trusting that by you saying something is just making a change. It's almost like the more you believe in it, the more it's going to work. So the power of affirmations really comes from the prep work that you've done to understand why you're saying what you're saying, and also the outcome of what you would like to receive by putting this oath on your body and this embodiment that you're going to walk around with. So really looking forward to hearing maybe some follow-up questions, some stories or things like that. Please feel free to reach out to me here or on Instagram, my social medias. And I'm really excited for all the things that you ladies are working towards and the community that you have to just lean on each other during that process. So thank you, Megan, so much for reaching out to me and asking me to be a part of this. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.